I did not expect my life to split in one night. I thought it would happen loudly, with warnings and signs I could not ignore. Instead, it happened quietly, in a borrowed apartment, after a conversation that did not feel important at the time. I was younger then, not reckless, just unfinished. I was working short contracts, moving between cities, telling myself I had time to decide who I would become. When I met her, I believed it was temporary. I believed that made it safe. She was local to the city I was visiting, grounded, calm in a way that made me feel steadier than I actually was. We did not talk about the future because neither of us asked. That silence felt mutual. It felt adult. It felt clean. We slept together more than once. Enough times that it stopped feeling accidental. Enough times that I should have asked questions I did not want answers to. I left after my assignment ended. I hugged her at the door and said I would call. I believed that meant something. I did not tell her that I had a family, not because I thought she would find out, but because saying it would have forced me to see myself clearly. I told myself that what I did not say could not hurt anyone. I told myself that distance would erase it. Distance never erases anything. It just delays the moment you have to look. Months later, I received a message I did not open right away. I stared at it for a long time. I already knew what it would say. There are only so many reasons someone reaches out after silence. When I finally read it, my body reacted before my mind did. I felt cold, then heavy, then strangely calm. She was pregnant. I told myself to breathe. I told myself to think logically. I told myself that there were options. I typed words that sounded responsible and detached, the way people do when they are afraid. I asked questions that were not really questions. I waited for the conversation to end. She asked me what we were going to do. I said it was not my problem. I still hear the moment I sent that message. Not the words themselves, but the sound of something closing inside me. I did not feel powerful. I felt small. But I chose that feeling anyway because it was easier than choosing responsibility. She told me it was too late to undo the pregnancy. She did not accuse me. She did not beg. She just stated it as a fact. That made it worse. Facts have weight. They do not argue back. After that, she disappeared. Not dramatically. She just stopped responding. I later learned she had left the city to avoid her family. I imagined her somewhere unfamiliar, trying to figure out how to breathe through days that suddenly felt impossible. I went home to my life, to my wife, to my children, to routines that depended on my silence. My family is connected, not famous, but protected. The kind of protection that comes with expectations and consequences. I told myself that was another reason I could not get involved. I told myself I was preserving something. What I was really preserving was myself. Time passed in strange ways after that. Some days felt normal. Others felt distorted, like I was watching my life through thick glass. I would sit at dinner and listen to my children talk about school, while another version of my life existed somewhere else, growing without me. I did not tell anyone, not my wife, not my closest friend, not even myself, fully. I learned how to compartmentalize so well that I almost forgot what I was carrying. Almost. Then the due date approached. I knew because I kept counting backwards, even when I pretended not to care. I wondered what the child would look like. I wondered if it would be a boy or a girl. I wondered if it would have my eyes. I hated myself for wondering. I told myself I had made my choice already, that reopening the door would only cause damage, that silence was the lesser harm. These are convincing arguments when you repeat them long enough. But silence has a cost. It always collects interest. I started waking up at night without knowing why. I would lie there and stare at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe. I thought about the child entering the world without any acknowledgement from me. I thought about the woman doing it alone. I thought about how permanent this was, no matter how invisible I try to make it. I am not telling this story to ask for forgiveness. I am not telling it to justify myself. I am telling it because pretending this never happened has started to feel heavier than admitting that it did. After the birth, there will be decisions. I know that. Decisions about names, about paperwork, about futures I am not part of. I know there are systems for adoption. I know there are families who wait for children they have never met. I know all of this in theory. What I do not know is how to live with the knowledge that my absence was a choice, not an accident. I tell myself that the child will be better off without confusion, that a clean break is kinder than a half presence, that my involvement would only complicate things. These may even be true, but truth does not always bring relief. I still imagine a life where I handled it differently, not heroically, just honestly. A conversation that did not end with dismissal. A responsibility acknowledged even if it could not be lived out fully. I imagine what it would feel like to stand in the light instead of behind it. I am still young enough to change parts of my life. That is what I tell myself. Young enough to study more, to grow, to be better in ways that do not erase what I have already done. But some things do not reset. They become part of the architecture. This child will grow up somewhere, with a story that does not include me, or includes me as an absence. I will grow older with a truth that only exists in my head. That is the balance I chose. I do not know yet if I will reach out again after the birth. I do not know if silence will remain my final answer. I only know that pretending this was nothing has changed me more than admitting it ever could. I stayed quiet because speaking would have required me to become someone I was not ready to be. Now I am learning that silence did not spare me. It just postponed the reckoning. And some reckonings arrive whether you invite them or not.